Every year on July 2nd, people around the globe celebrate World UFO Day. And right now, the public's curiosity feels more alive than it has in decades. Even Steven Spielberg, the legendary director who gave us E.T., is returning to the genre this summer with a new alien thriller. But to understand our modern obsession with the stars, we have to look back to a bright June day in 1947. Imagine you're a pilot flying over the snow-capped peaks of Mount Rainier in Washington state. That pilot was a man named Kenneth Arnold. He was searching for a crashed military plane, but instead, he reported seeing 9 strange, shiny objects darting through the air at speeds that defied the laws of physics. When Arnold described the objects to the press, he noted they moved like a saucer skipping across water. Newspapers ran with the quote, printing the term flying saucers for the very first time. That single phrase triggered a nationwide panic, leading to over 850 similar sightings within just 1 month. Then, right on the heels of Arnold's report in July 1947, a mysterious object crash-landed in the New Mexico desert. The military officially stated it was a weather balloon, but rumors of recovered alien technology at Roswell immediately took hold. UFO hunting quickly evolved into a national obsession, with civilian clubs forming and sci-fi media dominating the culture. Humans have a long habit of projecting their terrestrial fears onto the sky. In the 1400s, people in Nuremberg, Germany, panicked over what we now know were sundogs, atmospheric ice crystals catching the light. And in 1938, a live radio broadcast of The World of the Worlds was performed with such realism that listeners actually believed a Martian invasion was destroying New Jersey. It begs an obvious question. Were those 9 shiny objects over Washington our first real extraterrestrial encounter? Or were they simply a trick of the eye, amplified by a human imagination that is always eager to find meaning in the unknown? As we moved into the 1950s and 60s, the sensational newspaper headlines about flying saucers faded, replaced by a more institutional acronym, the UFO, or Unidentified Flying Object. There was a very grounded, terrestrial reality behind this panic. During the Cold War, the military was quietly conducting highly classified tests of experimental aircraft. A massive number of civilian UFO reports during this era poured in directly from the American Southwest, right around secretive installations like Area 51. Take the A-12 spy plane, for example. It was designed to fly faster and higher than any traditional aircraft in existence. It featured a sleek, black, wingless profile that looked entirely foreign. If you were a civilian catching a brief glimpse of this classified technology tearing through the sky, an otherworldly spaceship is a highly logical guess. A significant portion of the early UFO era was built on this exact misunderstanding. The public was simply looking at top-secret, earthly military hardware and interpreting it as visitations from another world. Today, the terminology is shifting again. You will rarely hear government officials or scientists use the term UFO. Instead, they use UAP, which stands for Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena. The purpose of this change is to strip away the decades of sci-fi stigma and tinfoil hat stereotypes. By adopting a neutral scientific vocabulary, researchers can investigate unexplained things in the sky without the immediate assumption of little green men. And there are certainly things we cannot explain. Between 2004 and 2021, a government program analyzed 144 UAP incidents that completely defied conventional military explanations. Navy pilots reported tracking objects maintaining altitudes of 30,000 feet and performing erratic, high-speed maneuvers. These anomalies have no flight surfaces, and they operated entirely without engines or visible fuel sources. While the military investigates locally, astrobiologists look deeper. This animated diagram illustrates our Milky Way. Glowing data points represent 300 million planets in our galaxy, with conditions required to support life. Statistically, the probability of Earth being the only active planet is shrinking. But scientists offer a strict caveat. When we send rovers out to look for clues, we aren't searching for intelligent beings building starships. The very first extraterrestrial life we discover is far more likely to be simple, microscopic bacteria. Standardizing this nomenclature allows investigators to move past the baggage of the 1950s and treat these 144 unsolved cases as a technical challenge rather than a cultural punchline. That shift is even reflecting in our pop culture. When Steven Spielberg returns to the subject this summer with Disclosure Day, the story leans away from pure sci-fi horror. Instead, it heavily explores themes of governmental transparency, empathy, and human connection in the face of the unknown. The cast of the film shares this grounded perspective. Emily Blunt recently noted that given the vast scale of space, it is mathematically insane to believe humanity is the only civilization out there in the dark. Her co-star, Josh O'Connor, takes it a step further. He suggests that if we made contact tomorrow, it wouldn't necessarily cause global panic. Proof of extraterrestrial intelligence could actually act as a unifying force, bringing people together under a shared cosmic identity. Whether we are misinterpreting atmospheric ice crystals in the 1400s, spotting classified supersonic jets in the 1950s, or tracking biological anomalies today, one constant remains across every era: human curiosity. So, if you step outside tonight and look up at the stars, ask yourself a question. If we finally prove we aren't alone out there, how would that revelation change the way we treat each other down here on Earth?